Hello, welcome to Jacqueline's Info Desk, and I'm going to talk about seed starting because you know what time it is, seed starting season. So first off, things like parsley, cilantro, beans, forget about them for right now. Don't tell the beans, but it may be another 3 to 4 months before I get to plant them in the ground because the soil won't be warm yet. But just tell them it'll be sooner than that. Things like this, flour mixed carrots, even more. Don't worry about these. They're planting these outside. We're thinking about seed starting right, and we're thinking about vegetables. You might hear a lot about those, but don't you forget about flowers. You can look at the packets on the back. Boop. Maybe you can see it, maybe you can't, but it tells you days to emerge. So this one's 15 to 30 days. That's a long time. That's almost a month. And to start inside 6 to 8 weeks. So 8 weeks before last frost date, which is around May 15th, that's March 15th. That's coming up. Things you do need to start thinking about planting now. These scrumptious veggies. Peppers, tomatoes. These are the first ones. And guess what? Guess what else I found? Celery. Can someone guess when to start inside? Recommended? 10 to 12 weeks. 12 weeks is 3 months. Start these now. Put these in biodegradable pots like this so you don't mess up the root system, because these root systems are a little tender. They'll give you little tips like that. I gotta start those. Okay, let's talk about peppers, tomatoes. These are typically what you want to sow by mid-March. What you need is a tray with a dome lid and then the planting cells. All right? You got the bottom tray, you put the planting cells in. You need seedling mix. Don't use any other seedling mix, okay? You evenly put the seedling mix in here. Take these seeds, they even tell you the seed depth, so it's 1/8 of an inch. So it's like barely, because these are super small seeds and the seed size actually will help you determine how deep it should be planted. So I just put them on top, take extra seedling mix, and just evenly spread on the top. That's 1/8 of an inch, okay? First, after you planted them, you want to spritz them with water. Don't use like a watering can or whatever. It's going to displace the soil and the seeds everywhere. So you want to get something like a mister. There's even like the big pumped ones that are pressurized, or you can get the small ones. The bigger ones are easier to do a greater number and for a wider area, but definitely recommend a low flow type of spray. For them, you put the dome on top. This traps in humidity, so you don't have to water your seeds every day necessarily, but definitely want to check every day. You'll see the color of the seedling mix change as it dries out, but this is the most important time to keep your seeds moist, not soggy, but moist. The emerging time will depend as well on the temperature. So if you have your soil at 60 degrees or so, it may take an extra, let's see, this is 5 to 10 days to emerge. It might be 15 days to emerge if you don't put a heating mat, which is fine if you want to take your time. But the longer it's in that soil without emerging, there's more time for that seed to rot. If you want to do something that's all encompassing with the dome and the planting tray and whatever, but plus a heat mat, you see that? See the heat there? This will get that soil temperature up to perfect, like 75, 80 degrees, depending on how long you keep it. I definitely recommend a timer. But this is it. This is what you want to get, this full kit. Also, if you want to upgrade to something a little bit more robust and you want to kind of grow now your herbs and such like that you're not supposed to start until later, get one of these mini greenhouses. It has a light, it has a dome, it has a tray. You can grow your herbs all winter long with this. Here, let me show you this side. It can actually be used as a propagation station as well. Put them in there, you're gonna have new plants in no time. Something else you need for seed starting is light. If you don't get one of those mini greenhouses, you need to put your seeds in a south-facing window and then rotate the tray, I would say every other day or so. Plants are going to want to lean towards the sunlight because it's not going to be as much light as they're going to get outside. So by rotating it, it's going to strengthen that stem up and be straighter. Another thing that I highly recommend is to have a very light breeze circulation on them. And this is only after, I should say, after you have little seedlings pop up. Oops. After you have little seedlings pop up and there's 2 leaves on it, 2 true leaves, that's when you can take this dome off and let it breathe. What that's going to do is that it's going to help the circulation. It's going to keep that moisture from sitting in there and rotting the plants or causing any fungal issues. Another thing I recommend is to get a fan that has a light setting on it. Put it further away if it seems like if it's drying your soil too quickly. But if you have a little movement, let's just say, oh, here we go. Let's just say this is your plant. If it has a little movement like this, that's great. What that does is strengthen the stem. The more movement and push on it, the stronger the stem will get. If you have weak stems in the past, if you have plants that are just like this, I mean they're growing really long and they're flipping over, it's because it's not strengthening the stem. So probably not enough light and maybe not enough circulation. All of our greenhouses out here have circulation. The one other thing that I like about these trays is that there's some dips in there. So there could be some water on the bottom here. If you have roots that are growing out the bottom, that's totally fine. They're going to take in that water that's kind of sitting on the bottom. Don't have that water up so it's always touching the soil, but those roots may be able to reach down and it's going to help your watering routine. If you don't have a south-facing window, get an artificial light. LED, full spectrum, it's all you need. Get them as close to the soil surface as possible. So let's just say again, this is the plant. Get that light here, 2 inches above it. As it grows, move it up. As it grows, move it up. As it grows, move it up. That's all you need to do. There's a lot of plants you can start from seed. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask us. We're happy to help.